I wanted to say a few words about the new Top Gun movie. Now, before I start, I want to say that I absolutely love the original Top Gun films from the 80s, just the one film. It's the movie that I kind of grew up on. It formulated a lot of concepts. It was just a very powerful movie for me early on, growing up. So I'm not going to say the same nice things about the new movie, just judging from its trailer. I haven't seen the movie, it hasn't come out yet. But I want to talk about the trailer and kind of what it signals to us about the state of the culture and the not such good hints that I think are signaled there. So, I'm sure the movie is going to be fast-paced and exciting, but the problem with the movie that I see is this, that in the original, in the 80s, Tom Cruise was, the hotshot, energetic, exciting, youthful, like brash, cocky, and then he got humbled. All that, this young hotshot type persona. He kind of solidified what it is to be a hotshot in the military, sort of the masculine archetype for what that looks like, what that can look like. Back in the era when they weren't afraid to make archetypes for men and women, and they weren't afraid to make them different. And he kind of exemplifies the version of that for men in that early first movie. And that's fine, but in 2020 Top Gun that's going to be coming up, judging only from the trailer, and it could be very different from the trailer's impression, he's basically the same thing. He's basically still young, brash, cocky, very interested in the thrills of the chase and pushing the G's on his airplane and thrill seeker, the guy that would love, the roller coaster, extremes. And he's now in his 50s. It's the same character that is now 30, 40 years later, and still living the same life, still has the jeans, the tight white t-shirt, still is unmarried, doesn't have a family, just judging from the trailer, is basically a bachelor, kind of living the bachelor lifestyle. And I kind of had a visceral reaction against that because, you want him to mature, to get to the next level. And I think they didn't do that because in today's culture, it's not really clear that there is a next level, or there should be a next level. The only thing that we believe today is that everyone should be youthful and good looking. And if you're not, you're kind of not valued. You're not really at the forefront of the culture. So if they wanted to make a movie about Tom Cruise and Top Gun, the only thing they could do with him was to keep him the same as he was. Because what else could he be? What other interesting things could he be and present in himself that would make the audience tune in? And I think the mistake with that, and I see the same mistake in the Rocky movies, until the last one, excepting the last one, Creed. Up until then, he was, Rocky was basically just a boxer. And he's in his 60s and he's still boxing, right? In the first movies, he was an amazing boxer, an incredible body, incredibly skilled, incredibly courageous, all the youthful attributes, right? That he was again another archetype of in the 80s. And now he's making a movie about Rocky into the 2010s, and it's the same person, just a lot older, a lot more wrinkled, a lot more with age wear that just naturally happens. It'll happen to me, it'll happen to you. So everyone will get that, but I don't think we like to see that. We don't like to feel that people will get older. And so we kind of feel that age is optional, or that we have to hide age because the only thing valuable is the youth. The only thing valuable is being fit and good looking in every year, in every age. But to challenge this narrative, I was thinking about what is the ideal counter narrative to that? And in pop culture, one of the best examples is the first Star Wars movie, Episode 4, right? When the old Obi-Wan is there to mentor Luke. And he's the absolute ideal of the older mentor, the older instructor, the wise man. Yoda is an even better example. Yoda doesn't have to worry about being good looking or being fit. Yoda's just wise, and he's seen, thousands of years of wisdom, and he can share that to people that can rise up to his level of value, because he only imparts his wisdom to people that deserve it. It's a very powerful archetype of what a person can be: old, wise, intelligent, a lot of context, a lot of wisdom, a lot of mistakes they've done that they can teach what not to do. But that wasn't the archetype that the Top Gun trailer portrayed. And until the last Rocky movie, that wasn't the archetype that Rocky portrayed. Like I want to see Rocky as like a whole arc of his character become the coach, for a lot of different movies, and share wisdom with a lot of different fighters, and not be the boxer still in the 60s. I want Tom Cruise to be the instructor that doesn't have to worry about the G's and the acceleration and like whooping and hollering in the airplane cockpit as he's like passing by. I want him like in the headquarters, dropping bombs of wisdom on the young bucks that think they're hotshots. Like in the first Top Gun, you had the instructor, the older instructor, who was the wise mentor. Top Gun should have been about Tom Cruise becoming that instructor now, becoming the wise man. And instead, he's still the single bachelor who acts like he's in his 20s and pretends like there's nothing cooler than that, which is a mistake, because number one, you can't chase what you're not. You have to embrace who you are. If you're older, embrace the age. Number two, don't fall into the delusion of acting like you can erase nature or battle with nature. Nature is always going to win human pretensions every time. But number three, I think the most valuable thing is wisdom is undervalued in our culture. Wisdom, intelligence that comes from age, experience, is kind of like not sought out. When I was younger, I had a lot of old people that I hung out with, because I was like, well, they know what life is going to be about. They're much more valuable to me than my friends who, like myself, don't know anything. But I don't see that as like an aspirational thing today, where let me find the oldest man that I can and let me extract as much wisdom as I can from somebody that's been there, that's seen it, that can teach me to avoid the pitfalls of life, so that I don't have to make those mistakes. Tom Cruise is not the mentor, not the old wise master. And I think that's a mistake.